Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, we're the chimps. Episode 2. We're Bananas for Comics.
I like that intro.
I'm Robbie.
I'm Rocco.
And I'm Jonathan.
Last time.
Forgot for a second.
Yep.
And we're Bananas for Comics.
Ooh, ah. Monkey sound.
There's a new monkey in the room. It's not the one from last week.
What?
He makes different noises.
Oh. News. You want to talk about news? Some stuff happened?
Yep, some
Stuff was
news. I'm
announced.
sitting here at this table. There's 2 issues of Venom on the table.
You know what?
One thing you gotta know about Rocco, he loves the news. So, let's get
right.
into it. Let's talk about that Invincible trailer.
Yes. Rocco, you talked about Invincible
Yeah,
last week.
I did. That is one of my favorite indie comics. And the trailer did not disappoint. It was only a minute long.
Let's be
but-
clear. The trailer for the animated series.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Amazon is making an animated series for Invincible, which, if you recall from last week, is a comic by Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead. Basically, his take on like if Superman was born with his powers, but had his own little spin on it. It's really good. I love it. I'm very excited for the show.
I want to read it. Haven't.
I've read I've
read
read about a third of
Yeah.
it. Exactly a third of it. I'll say this much. I'm very excited for the cast. J.K. Simmons as the father.
There is an awesome cast.
It's a very good voice cast.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for the show.
For show. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'll see it.
I'm gonna catch up on the comic before it comes out. I believe it's 2021. It's
Yeah, we don't know exact date
Yeah.
yet. Just says 2021. I'm hoping for an early 2021, like March or April, but we'll see.
hopefully.
Hi, Rocco.
Hi, Robbie.
As a reader of Invincible, would you say that this trailer does not disappoint?
Hi, Robbie. Yes, I would say this trailer does not disappoint. I would say it seems very faithful to the source material. And the animation looks fantastic. So yeah,
All right, more news.
more news.
What else happened?
Batman set photos.
Step back. The Batman.
The
All right,
Batman.
This isn't none of your pushy shit. Ben Affleck, Batman v Superman. This isn't that little twerp Christian Bale doing his little, whatever. This is the Robert Pattinson, the Batman. All right.
I'm sorry.
Just don't let it happen again, bud.
Should we talk about the set photos, or should we keep discussing semantics?
All right. Robert Pattinson looks great. Looks like he did in the trailer.
I love the man.
Everyone's.
He is. I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He's incredible. I love him.
It's great. He's my favorite actor. It's great.
Cool.
He's one of my favorite actors.
He's up there.
Yeah, I think me and Rocco, we have like a similar top 3.
Yes, with
Right?
Robert Pattinson,
Jake Gyllenhaal,
Keanu
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is my 4th. No, you know what? He is my 3rd now. Joseph Gordon-Levitt got pushed to 4 because he isn't in stuff anymore.
I mean, 2 of those would be on my top 3.
Okay. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's too busy being in that Netflix movie.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's too busy being like a philanthropist.
Yeah.
and giving money to people.
Doing his own thing.
Too good. He's too good of a person. He can't act anymore.
Mr. Falcone on set.
Yeah, we only saw like one picture of him, but
Still,
he looks great.
The
And
glasses. What's his name again?
The actor?
Yeah. Oh,
Jesus.
yep.
then Jesus from The Big Lebowski.
What's his name? John Turturro
John Turturro.
on set as, what's his first name? Albert? No, that's his son.
Carmine.
Carmine Falcone.
We all
Carmine.
remembered at the exact same time.
Carmine Falcone, head of the Falcone family.
Was there a Falcone in The Dark Knight?
Yep.
Is there what? Okay, so
Batman Begins.
He's also in The Dark Knight, isn't he? Isn't he the one that he drops off the?
No.
No,
Who's that?
no.
No, Falcone's just in the first.
Oh.
Batman Begins. The best
He's
one.
also in the best Batman-rated show, Gotham. Just a reminder.
Okay.
We're
But
gonna
wait.
bring up Gotham a lot.
No, we're
None
not.
of us have watched that show.
I have.
I have.
I've never watched that show because I don't want to.
All right. Wait. There's one super crazy thing there.
A bird?
Zoe Kravitz.
Oh.
Has long hair.
It's a wig. Funeral attire. Catwoman. Looks awesome.
She does look great.
She looks
really
amazing.
cool.
She is next to Falcone in the set photo, right? So there's-
The one I was thinking of was Pattinson, Colin Farrell, and Falcone,
okay.
and then there was one of her. by herself.
I saw one of her walking with Falcone, I think, but I want to talk about Colin Farrell's the Penguin.
I love him. I love how he looks. I love Colin Farrell in general. I'm very stoked for him as the Penguin. I can't
Killing
wait.
of a Sacred Deer, The Lobster,
Don't get
The
me
two
started.
movies that made me love Colin Farrell.
Yargos Lanthimos masterpieces.
And alright, I don't want to get into this too much,
Okay.
but he is like the best part of Daredevil 2003. He is pretty amazing to watch in that movie. It is
You're
just
right.
He
so
is
much-
beyond entertaining.
Yeah.
You're right. We shouldn't talk about this.
Listen, this scene where he is going through the metal detector is one of the funniest scenes.
There is one scene in that movie that I love.
Is it when he kills the old lady
On the airplane.
Yeah.
With the and
Okay.
she's dead, and then the flight attendant comes and goes, "More peanuts, please."
Listen, every scene with
My-
him is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, my favorite is the deleted scene, which is the airport scene where he's going through security and he's hiding the paperclip in his mouth or whatever, and this music's playing. And
It's like, now you see me too.
It's hard to explain without visuals. It just needs to be seen to be believed.
God, that
All
was
right,
incredible.
All right, guys. There's one other piece of news. There's a big book coming out soon from Image Comics by my man Donny Cates. It's called Crossover.
Yeah.
So I should confirm exactly what it is. I believe it's pre-sales. It broke the record for Image pre-sales since
I have a thing where someone...
1995, 98.
I can pull it up 1 second.
But while you pulled it up, Image has also said that Crossover will have a Watchmen level impact on the comic book industry. What do you guys think about that?
It's not the first time Donny Cates' work has been compared to Watchmen.
Okay, let me say this though.
Wait, what else has been compared to Watchmen?
Venom.
Venom has been compared to Watchmen?
No.
Dude,
It's a bit. It's a bit.
Oh, okay.
Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman have touted.
Oh, I saw that on... Yeah.
They
I
were
didn't know that's what
saying
you were
that
referencing.
Venom, and then I believe specifically Absolute Carnage, is going to be better than Watchmen. No. Venom is better than Watchmen. Absolute Carnage was going to be the most selling single issue Marvel has done since X-Men. That's what they were saying. Both were bits,
Oh, yeah.
but Venom's great.
Venom's good.
Venom's very good.
Pulling it up still. Hold on.
Take your time.
Yeah, okay, I got it. You ready? So, Donny Cates posted a little while ago, we're all in a little speechless, blah, blah, blah. Crossover is Image Comics' highest launch since 1998. So, that's a while. I don't know what the book was.
Well, Image started...
Danger Girl is the last highest selling book, which I never even heard of Danger Girl.
You haven't heard of Danger Girl? Neither have I.
I haven't either.
So, I don't know. I'm
Actually, no, that's a lie. I have. As we made that joke, I remembered.
I don't know.
I believe J. Scott Campbell does a lot of those covers. A man I often criticize.
So,
I don't know when Crossover comes out.
Soon.
We'll definitely discuss it when it does.
Speaking of big issues,
holding in my hand right now?
we all are. Hang on.
Not yet.
Now
we are.
How do you say this? Jorge? Jorge?
Jorge Forns, I think.
It's pronounced Rorschach.
Oh.
So yeah, Rorschach by Tom King, Jorge Forns, and Dave Stewart.
So, Dave Stewart.
Is Dave Stewart the colorist, or is he the?
Take a
yes,
guess.
he's the colorist.
Take
I
a
didn't know if
guess.
he was the colorist for
The man who colors everything. He colored Basket Full of Heads.
Okay,
That is everything. You're right.
you're right.
Didn't he? Wait, no. Who did Hawkeye?
Not Dave Stewart. I don't.
That was the
think.
other guy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's like one of my favorite colorists. I will look it up again.
Okay, I got them confused.
The guy that does Hawkeye did Preacher, and he is doing November right now.
That's right.
And obviously a lot of other
November.
stuff. He is amazing.
Preacher.
All right, let's get a little bit back on topic here. So, Rorschach. Let's talk a little bit about what this book is. Came out this week by Tom King.
Came out.
Jorge Forns.
Came out today.
Well, usually releases on
Of the
Tuesdays
filming
now.
of this podcast, at
It
least.
came out yesterday. If you want to be a jerk,
October
Like you.
14th, 2020.
Well,
Not e-
that's why I said this week to avoid this back and forth.
Not even
Rocco.
Tom King says Tuesdays. Okay.
He said today on Tuesday, but let's move on. So Rorschach, popular, misunderstood character. What?
Do you want me to say who the colorist was?
You might as well.
Matt Hollingsworth is the
Okay.
colorist that you were
Okay,
thinking of.
great. Perfect.
We know this now.
Should we go around doing our initial thoughts on this one?
Yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit about what this book is first.
All right, go ahead.
So, I'm assuming everyone has at least heard of Watchmen. Watchmen is this huge thing, shook up superhero comics as we know it. Alan Moore. Oh my God.
Dave Gibbons.
Dave Gibbons. See, I was thinking Dave, but I was thinking Dave Stewart. I didn't want to say Dave Stewart.
Dave Stewart, the famous artist for Watchmen.
Yeah, it was this huge thing. And DC, for, I was going to say better or for worse, but for worse, has attempted numerous different things with Watchmen. Prequels, sequels, you name it. They're all terrible.
That's not the length of it. Prequels and sequels.
They're all terrible?
Yeah. Well, adaptations, too.
Have
They're not
you
all
heard
terrible.
of Doomsday Clock?
Doomsday Clock is one of the good ones.
Doomsday Clock, I barely know her.
No, there is with varying levels of success. Let's say that because there is some. There should never have been anything probably to come after Watchmen or take place before Watchmen, but for stuff we have gotten, there's some really bad stuff. There's some really mediocre stuff. There's some good stuff.
What is good?
The TV show is very good. You guys haven't watched it, but the TV show is very good at capturing what Watchmen was, I think. From before Watchmen, most of it's not good. At least we got good art from
That's right, the Minutemen.
the Minutemen one by
Darwin
Darwin Cook and Silk Spectre, Amanda Connor. Even if I haven't read it yet, but Amanda Connor's art's good, if nothing
Yes,
else.
I sold that to you. That's good.
You did, I didn't read it yet.
Well, it looks good.
All right.
It looks good. I flipped through it.
So,
Let's circle back around to Rorschach.
yeah.
Yes.
So, you mentioned, for example, the Watchmen TV series.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it. And I think you guys should say this as well, I have always been on a pretty firm stance of stop touching Watchmen.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're all...
This is kind of the exception for me.
Like
this
I
is
said,
the first one I was excited for.
I was not excited at first, actually. When this was announced, because Tom King does these, like, maxi series now.
Yeah, he's not, as of right now, he's not even
Well.
set up for a new,
Yeah.
like, full
And
run.
in
He's just
interviews
doing
and
maxis.
podcasts, he's talked about doing multiple more of these maxi series.
Yeah.
So I always had this thing where it's like, yeah, I'll read the next Tom King maxi series. Did Strange Adventures already start before this was announced?
Yeah, this was only
Yeah.
announced in July.
Okay.
He hinted at it, but it wasn't
Yes.
announced until recently.
So he did Mr. Miracle.
He did Vision, and he did Mr. Miracle.
Well, no, I'm talking about these maxis. Oh, well,
Omega Man
Vision's
one of them?
maxi.
Is Omega Man a maxi?
Yes.
But
It is.
this
I don't think
train,
it was 12 issues,
This
though.
train he's on with DC started with Mr. Miracle. Him
Well,
and Mitch
if you
Gerrits.
want to count Omega Man, start Omega Man.
Okay.
But Omega Man, I don't think it was 12 issues.
So,
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah,
regardless.
Mr. Miracle was Omega Man, Mr. Miracle, and then Strange
Okay.
Adventures.
Yeah, this is not important. That's
Yes, this was announced, and I always had this thing of, I'll read the next Tom King Maxi
Yeah.
series, everyone that's announced, because he's a really good writer. This was announced, and I went, wow, I'm not gonna get this. And I was pretty firm on that up until last week.
I mean, yeah, until you're like, we should probably talk about it for the podcast. I don't
Yes.
think we're going to buy it.
But even after saying that, I listened to a podcast with him, and I've heard him talk about it, and I was like, all right, I'm open to this at least.
Yeah.
We'll see. I liked it.
Yeah. So, right off the bat,
very good for this year.
I didn't know it was going to take place in modern time, 2020. So, right off the bat, I mean, I'm assuming he started writing this before the Watchmen show started, just because of how long it takes to get stuff done in comics. So, it's crazy how similar of a, not story it is, because it's a very different story, but just the idea of having it take place in modern day and just kind of leaving everything that happened in Watchmen, it seems like is going to stay in the past. It's definitely going to tackle political issues, which I hope it would.
Yes.
I mean,
It's great though so far. I really enjoyed the first issue. I don't think we should go too deep into it, but I think we should definitely talk about.
But
parts of it.
again,
One thing I want to talk about, I also listened to a Tom King podcast talk about the first issue, or at least just the series in general. And one thing that really made me excited for this was he he was talking about how he didn't want to just emulate Alan Moore and recreate Watchmen. That was not his intention. What he wanted to do was create something new that had an impact like Watchmen could. Like, it could try to do something that Watchmen did. And by doing that, it means he had to go against everything that Watchmen did in the first place. So he got rid of the 9-panel grids, which Tom King is very well known for, and instead goes for all these new grids that I haven't really seen him use very often. I mean, towards the end of the issue, he does a 15-panel grid, which is pretty crazy to me. I wasn't expecting it. I actually think he might be doing, for most of this book, a 15-panel grid.
Yeah, you just add 6 to the 9. Goes to 15.
Thanks.
That's how ad work.
Also,
That's
I know
the one I was thinking of. It's 12.
He specifically talked about how he knows he does a lot of how he does dialogue. He does a lot of like the same things for dialogue, how people stutter and talk in it. So he went out of his way to make sure he doesn't do that in this book. Yeah, I just like originality. So,
Jonathan?
Yeah. So for me, Tom King, especially when I'm thinking about his Batman, he's always been, like, writing-wise, incredibly quick to read through. Not that this one was slow or anything, but I spent more time on each panel, like, thinking about it, compared to his Batman run, where I kind of just breezed right through it. This one, you need to take more of the time to, you know, appreciate what's going on, look at it, fully comprehend the story and the politics of everything, which I liked a lot. Takes more time, but doesn't really matter, you know?
Rorschach. Do we want to wait till like the next issue to talk a little more about...
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the ending to this issue.
Okay.
We could talk about... We'll see if we want to keep talking about it every month when it comes out or not.
Sure,
But
yeah. This one's 12.
This one's 12, yeah.
Awesome. Final thoughts. Should people pick it up? Did you like it?
Yeah. I mean, Jorge, just alone, if you don't even like Tom King's writing, Jorge Forn's art is beautiful in this book.
It's really great.
I remember, I think it's the same podcast we're thinking of.
Word Balloon?
Word Balloon.
Yeah.
The newest one.
Yeah.
You've never listened to it, right?
No.
Okay.
Good podcast.
It is good, yeah. A lot of Matt Fraction stuff. Tom King was talking about finding Jorge Forns and how DC originally didn't like him.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, he's just like Mazzucchelli. And
Which
Tom
is
King was like,
insane.
that's the point!
Mazzucchelli's one of the greatest artists of all time. Let's not pick up this guy that emulates him perfectly. Like, what?
Yeah. So basically, Tom King got him to do like some Batman issues every now and then.
He got him for like 2 issues, and then he blew up on Daredevil, and then like,
that's all right.
All right, we'll get him, and then he was able to snatch him for a lot of the ending of Batman.
Because the way his Batman works is there's revolving artists.
Yeah, whenever it's a big book like that, they always try to get revolving artists.
Because Batman ships twice monthly.
Yeah. Final thoughts, right? I think everyone should pick it up. At least give it a shot.
As someone who got on board very late, I'm glad I gave it a shot. And I liked it, and I want to see what happens next.
Great,
absolutely.
Should we move on to
we mentioned Batman quite a lot.
We did.
Are you guys ready to jump into Batman?
Yeah. So do we want to give a little hint about what our plan for the next few meetings are?
So okay, yeah. So we're gonna do a 3-part miniseries, if you will, on DC's Trinity. The Trinity being Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, who just so happens to be our 3 favorite DC superheroes. So what we're going to do is, not all of these are going to be the same. Rocco covers Batman, Jonathan covers Superman, I cover Wonder Woman. That episode is basically going to be our episode. It's going to be whatever we want it to be, so long as it focuses on that character.
Yeah. So
Rocco, tell us what this Batman episode is going to be.
How I decided I wanted to do Batman was... The thing I love about Batman is his rich history, so I kind of wanted to go a little quick rundown of from when he was created to now, not necessarily talking about everything that's happened to Batman as a character, but instead talking a little bit behind the scenes about some of the creators and why their runs might be important. I have a little list here. I'm going to start right away at the Golden Age. There's really not much to talk. Golden Age is when Batman was created.
Purple gloves.
He got purple gloves. He's got a great costume, honestly. I love it. So Batman originally, he started out, he was created by Bill Finger with Bob Kane. Little fun fact there.
Who?
For people that don't know.
Bob who?
Bob Kane is credited as the main creator with Bill Finger, but with within the last few years, it has come to light that Bill Finger came up with Batman, and Bob Kane kind of helped. It was mostly Bill Finger that did all the work, and he wasn't credited on a movie or anything until Batman vs Superman in 2016. So I like to give him as much credit as possible.
Of all movies. You want to talk about that documentary?
Yeah, I was
What was
just gonna
that
say it's called Batman and Bill. So
Yes.
the thing I want to talk about with the Golden Age is I'm not a huge fan of Golden Age Batman stuff. It's a little too slow for me. Not really my thing. But if you want to just learn about that time and kind of the creation of Batman, check out that documentary. Last time I checked, it was on Hulu. It's worth a watch. It's really great. But now we're gonna move on to Silver Age. This is when things get a little fun. So
I like the Silver Age.
Silver Age is great.
In general.
Yeah, Silver Age is when everything was just kind of fun in comics for Marvel and DC because the Comics Code Authority existed. You couldn't really try new things that were violent at all, so they had to do fun stuff. So Marvel, got around that a lot. DC just kind of went with it. So
They just went insane.
yeah.
So, real quick, the Doom Patrol comes out of this era.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't mention them on the first episode. Doom Patrol, one of my favorite properties of all time. Very Silver Agey. If anyone wants to see like a really great Silver Age, check out the Doom Patrol.
I think the best Silver Age stuff for any characters, you got Doom Patrol, Batman,
People talk about Superman a lot.
Superman, and the Flash are like the Silver Age characters that are the most fun. Green Lantern actually came out of the Silver Age too. He's like, it's fun read, but Green Lantern gets a lot better in my opinion later on.
You know the yellow lamp thing?
Yeah.
I laughed so hard when I first saw that.
Yeah, because Green Lantern, it wasn't just like the Yellow Lanterns that were attacking them. Anything yellow would just dissolve Green Lantern's powers.
the color.
Until like the
color.
90s. So anyway, if you just wore a yellow t-shirt, you were fine.
There's this one issue where he's fighting two robbers, and he creates a shield with his ring, the hard light construct, and they throw a yellow lamp at him, and it hits him, and he's like, "Great Jupiter!"
Yeah, it's good
And then
stuff.
they run outside and get in a yellow car so we can't stop them.
So if you ever just want fun stuff to sit down, Silver Age is where it's at. The best way I could describe Silver Age for Batman, if you have ever watched the 66 TV show, that's exactly what the Silver Age was.
That's
It's-
what that's emulating.
Yes, it is campy, it is goofy, Batman and Robin are just kind of hanging out. What did you
I
want to
was
say?
going to say, it is perfect.
Yeah,
I just
it's-
love that stuff.
It's just fun. I mean, there's Batman stories for the comics where he gets a zebra costume and goes crazy, starts terrorizing
Is that where
Gotham.
Zern-Ah comes from?
Zern R, which I'm going to get back to in a little bit, actually, but Zern R in Silver Age was a Batman from another, not dimension, but another planet, I think. And he gets Batman to help him save his planet. He wears like a big bright suit. Very, very good stuff.
Probably my favorite Batman costume.
Zern R, yeah, Batmite comes from that, who is a fifth dimensional creature that is just obsessed with Batman and wants to help him but messes up at every turn. It's great stuff. It's just silly.
I don't talk a lot about Batmite, but I actually adore Batmite.
Batmite
I
is-
think Batman's great.
I
Yeah.
love Batmite so much.
And both of those characters I'm actually going to bring back.
He's
later.
just such a
With the
fun
Morrison?
character.
Yes.
Great.
So, moving from the Silver Age, you can see a big... Even though it's so much fun reading this stuff, and now it's a part of Batman's history, at the time, it really kind of jumped away from what made Batman Batman. He was no longer solving crimes, per se, but just kind of going on wacky adventures. That was until the 70s when Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams took over, and that's when Batman becomes Batman. If you've ever watched like the Batman animated series or anything, basically Batman as you know him is Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams. They did everything in their power to make him this serious character, make all their villains feel like villains, and I personally think, I know we're going to get to the next creator who a lot of people credit as the most important Batman writer. I think Denny O'Neil is the most important person to ever touch Batman. I think without Denny O'Neil, we probably wouldn't have Batman the way he is. We probably wouldn't have a Batman comic anymore. So everything's kind of thanks to him. I think if you just want to check out any, because with those other Golden Age, Silver Age, you just look up any of those comics and you'll get a sense. The best Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams stuff, if you're ever interested in picking it up, There's the Ra's al Ghul stuff, which is the Demon Trilogy. All of that stuff is brilliant.
Is it Ra's or Roz?
Roz, Ra's, people say both.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, I didn't know.
I say Ra's, some people say Roz.
I didn't know if like you heard Denny O'Neil say that.
I could probably find it. I never thought to look.
Okay.
But I should look. It's a good idea. Because I know like in Batman Begins they say Roz, but in the animated series they say Ra's. Doesn't matter.
Ra's al Ghul is the main antagonist in the Christopher Nolan film Batman Begins.
Played by Liam Neeson.
Unfortunately.
Bad choice.
Yeah, people don't talk about that a lot. Him and Bane.
Yeah, but at least Bane has a funny voice.
That makes up for
That's
the
a good
whitewashing.
argument.
Doesn't make up for whitewashing.
That's a good argument.
But
Continue.
it's more entertaining watching Bane. How about that?
You're right.
Okay, back to what I was saying. Another really, really crazy but fun story by Denny O'Neil. Neil Ives, I don't think actually worked on this one. I think it was Ron Garney, the writer, the artist of The Boys.
Wait,
Boys.
Ron Garney?
Isn't that his name? You met him with me. I don't
Ron
know.
Garney's the...
Or is that the
first-
Spider-Man artist?
He's the first artist on Soul's Daredevil.
He also did Back to Black. I'm thinking of a different artist. I am blanking on his name right now.
The artist of The Boys?
Yeah.
Jeez.
He also, because he does the art of this book, but Denny O'Neil writes it, I'm pretty sure. It's one of my favorite Batman stories, actually. It's called Batman Venom, where Batman fails to save a little girl that's drowning from this villain, and because of that, he thinks he needs to get stronger, and to do that, he takes this is before Bane came in, so this was before it was a well-known drug. He uses the drug Venom, which, as we all know, Bane uses to get super strong, and he gets addicted, and it's all about Batman fighting addiction. It's really great story. I love it. I think it's a great read, so I think you guys should check it out if you're ever interested in Denny O'Neil type Batman run. But moving on from that, the next most important writer for Batman of all time, and definitely put his stamp down, is Frank Miller.
That's right.
Frank Miller, writer and artist for Dark Knight Returns, one of the best-selling DC books of all time, and one of the best Batman stories of all time. And he also did Batman Year One with David Mazzucchelli. These stories they placed Miller at the top as the Batman writer. Without him, he is just as important as Denny and is more well known for what he did for Batman to non-comic book fans. Dark Knight Returns really shows the gritty, grizzled Batman at the end of his rope, holding on to that last straw that I can't kill, but he wants to. He's on edge, about to lose it.
And that started a movement for comics as a whole, too.
Yes. So, we were talking about Watchmen earlier.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns started around the same time as Watchmen and is just as impactful and important to comics. Those two comics, not even talking about what they did to writing, they just showed people in general that comics weren't just for kids.
Yeah, that was the first, whoa, this stuff can be heavy and definitely for adults.
Yeah, and it definitely is not for children, Dark Knight Returns. Great book, though, and Miller does the art on that with Klaus Janson. And Year One is his telling and is usually used as the origin story for Batman.
Up until Zero Year.
Up until Scott Snyder, who we'll get to later. Year One's, I think, is actually better than Dark Knight Returns. I think Year One is a near perfect book, if not just a perfect Batman book. It really goes into the noir side of Batman and the detective.
I just reread The Dark Knight Returns, but I haven't read Year One in a while, but I think I'd agree with you.
Yeah, it's
If
even
memory
just for
serves
Mazzucchelli's
correct.
art is
Yeah.
he draws the best Batman.
Yeah, I think the art is kind of what brings it up just
Yeah.
above.
Mazzucchelli.
Mazzucchelli.
The other one was my first Batman book, so I have a special fondness for that.
You're
one.
lucky, man. You're a lucky boy. I wish it was my first Batman book. No, I'm happy with mine. Death in the Family. I'm not gonna talk. I'll talk about that at the end because I'm gonna just throw in some extra books. But moving on from Miller, we go into the '90s where Chuck Dixon wrote Batman for most of the era. I don't have too much to say about Chuck Dixon. He's important for Batman just for how long he wrote the character. You know him from writing stuff like Nightfall and No
Did he
Man's
write
Land.
the Cult?
No, Jim Starlin did. I'm going to get back to Jim's, because Jim Starlin had such a short run. I was going to talk about him, a little side note at the end.
Okay.
But Dixon is well known for basically crossing over the Bat family with every chance he got, just because the whole point in the 90s was to sell as many comics as he could, basically. That's all DC and Marvel wanted to do. And so they had cross-ins all the time. So Nightfall is this huge event where Bane breaks Batman and Azrael takes over the mantle and starts slowly getting crazier until Bruce has to get back up, take his spot back.
Bane breaking Batman's back, most popularly recreated in the Christopher Nolan film The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes. And there's no cave, though. There's no mountain he has to climb in the book.
Don't break your... Oh, I don't remember the line. Never mind.
What?
Never mind.
But yeah, so Nightfall's fun. It's such a long read, but if you're really bored and really want to get into it, I enjoyed it. And No Man's Land is about a big, I don't know, earthquake hitting Gotham, and I haven't read it. People like it. Check it out if you want. I don't know. Moving on from Dixon, though, people love Dixon. Let me put that out there. People do love his run. I just haven't gotten in it too much. But I'm going to move into what I consider one of the best Batman runs. It just finished getting collected. It is Batman by Grant Morrison. So he wrote the character for 7 years, from like 2006 or 7 until like 2013. I think 6 till 2013, where he wrote 3 major arcs. The first one being Batman R.I.P., where he introduces Damian Wayne, who is Bruce's and Talia al Ghul's son, into the mix. He becomes Robin, and they're fighting crime.
The best Robin.
He is a great Robin.
That wasn't sarcasm. I'm sarcastic a lot. He's my favorite Robin.
He's a lot of people's favorite Robin. He's a great Robin. But Damian comes in, and they have this whole story arc where basically what Morrison's plan was I want to make everything in the Silver Age canon. So he brings the likes of Batmite back, Zurin R, all of these other Batmen from different parts of the globe, like the Knight and Squire from Britain, and I think Man of Bat, which is the Native American Batman, something like that. I think it was Man of Bats. And all these characters come in, and he creates this really great story, which leads into his run Final Crisis, where, spoiler alert, Batman quote-unquote dies.
What?
Spoiler alert for a book that came out like 10 years ago.
You're kidding me.
Batman. Wait, hang on. Then how are we still getting Batman adventures today if Batman died?
Just gonna have to wait and find out.
Okay.
All right, come on. Get to the point.
So, at that point, Dick Grayson, the first Robin, takes over as Batman, and Damian is still Robin. So the whole point of this was, instead of what was shown before with how it always has been with Batman being the grumpy old man and Robin being the fun, happy kid, it's flipped. Batman by Dick Grayson, he's fun and happy, while Damian is grumpy and angry all the time. And it's so much fun.
I would like to say one thing about this.
Yes.
So, when I first read Morrison's Batman and Robin I think I was in high school, that there was something about it was Dick Grayson as Batman. It was the flip dynamic. It was all this stuff where I was just like, whoa.
Frank Quietly and art.
Frank
too.
Quiet. Oh my god. This is like the best Batman can be.
Yeah.
And I think it's just fantastic.
It's so good. And then he closes out his run. Obviously, Bruce Wayne returns eventually. He closed out his run with Batman Incorporated.
So wait, real quick.
Yes.
Batman didn't die.
He gets sent back in time to like prehistoric age. Forgets his. He goes on a time adventure. It's very fun, but it's very silly.
Sick. We get to see more of that in Metal.
No.
We'll get to Metal.
In that one shot.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Because Barbados...
I read it and I don't even know what you're talking about.
If people haven't read Metal, this is going to make no sense. But we see the caveman Batman...
Oh, and I was thinking of Death Metal.
No, Dark Knight's Metal.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Snyder likes to bring back all the worst stuff. Yeah,
I don't want to talk about that, though.
Yeah, he goes on a time adventure, but he forgets who he is. So he goes through all these eras. Very fun. But he comes back, and he realizes he can't be Batman by himself. So he goes back to all those other Batmen from the different parts of the world and creates Batman Incorporated, which is this organization funded by Wayne Corp, who are looking over the entire world, and hijinks ensue. It's very fun. I was talking about last week. I was reading. I just finished. Really great stuff.
So not to what's it called? Try to rush you or anything.
I got two more writers.
So we're gonna jump into New 52 and Rebirth, right?
Yes, and Rebirth I'm only gonna touch on because I want to go in depth on it later.
On another, yeah.
So Scott Snyder, very famous as a Batman writer. He definitely put his print on fast.
What a guy.
He's such a nice person. He started in New 52 with his Batman run in Court of Owls. So if you haven't read it, his New 52 run is very great. He really pulls from a lot of the great writers of Batman and kind of puts it together to create his own. It's heartwarming at a lot of times. He's very good at writing horror and this mysterious element for his New 52 run. It's great. It's definitely worth checking out. And then we close out with the last writer until currently, which was Tom King, who we've been talking about a lot recently. My favorite Batman run. He is, I think, the first person, in my opinion, since Miller and Denny to really change the character and really change who he is and why I love him. I don't want to get too in depth because, like I said, I think it'd be fun to talk about it at a later point. So, but definitely check it out. It's so good. And then really fast, yes.
I will say this about Tom King's Batman run. I've also read it. I adore it.
Yes.
And I feel like I just want to say this because it gets a lot of unfair hate. And I just want to preface this that I just really like it. That's all.
And not to go against you or anything, but both of you have read it completely. I started it in singles.
Yeah, whatever.
And I dropped it after the first arc. Granted, both of you have told me that it spikes after that first arc.
Yeah, I think it really picks up in I think it's the third. Well, there's arcs and there's story. Like, in volumes, it's like the third volume or fourth volume, War of Jokes and Riddles, but it's like the second arc. That's when it, because that's when.
Oh yeah, well,
we'll get to
I've also jumped ahead and I've read War of Jokes and Riddles.
And that's when I think it picks up. But yeah, to close out, there's just a few stories that didn't really fit into this timeline I kind of built for myself, but I really think it's worth checking out. First of all, my favorite all-time Batman story, Batman Arkham Asylum by Grant Morrison. Doesn't fit into his run. Yeah, he wrote it in the 80s. It's this one-shot horror-themed book about Batman's nightmares of what his villains mean to him. It's the basis for the video game that's based on it. It's great. It's really short. Everyone should read that. I love that book so much.
Incredible art.
Yeah.
I traded you the Killing Joke for it.
Yes, because I got the Absolute Edition.
Yes.
I paid more money for it.
And hey, one of the best trades I've ever made.
Yeah. Oh my god, for sure. I mean, yeah, that's the next one I was going to talk about, though, is The Killing Joke by Alan Moore. That's even shorter than Arkham Asylum. Another very important book for Batman. For what Denny and Miller do for Batman, I think Moore does for Joker. That book is what the Joker is now.
The Joker, baby.
Before 3 Jokers. Moving on. Let's Jim Starlin stuff. He does Death in the Family, which is another one of my favorite Batman stories about the death of the second Robin, Jason Todd. That's my first Batman story, going back to what you said with
Look at that.
It's 4 issues. You can trade. It's really fun. It's not fun. It's sad, but it's good. It's good stuff. And finally, there was another one I want to talk about, but it is slipping my mind.
I mentioned The Cult. Was it that?
That's another Jim Starlin book. Very good. That's not what I was going to bring up.
Bernie writes.
Do you want to mention Long Halloween?
Yes! That was the other one. Sorry I yelled.
Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale.
Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale is such a great team. Always, they're a great team. And they did 3 Batman stories, but the most important one and the best one, they're all good though, is The Long Halloween, a 12-issue maxi series about someone killing someone every holiday. It's why it's called The Long Halloween. It starts on Halloween and ends on Halloween. Every issue is a new holiday. It does a great job at kind of dissecting who Batman is, and it's a really good Harvey Dent story. It's a really good Falcone story. It's great Catwoman. Yes, Robbie?
You may
You want to talk about that?
you may recognize some of the main points in the Christopher Nolan film The Dark Knight.
You really brought in all 3 of those movies.
I saw the opportunity. I got so happy.
Yes, The Dark Knight is mainly focused and based off of The Long Halloween.
Yeah.
So if you like The Dark Knight, Joker's not a main character in it. That's the only part that Nolan really adds. A lot of it is based off of that book.
The sequel is not Dark Knight, right? The sequel to
Dark
Long
Victory.
Halloween. Dark
Very
Victory.
good too. That's where they bring in their own version of Robin. Great Robin origin story. Both really worth checking out.
The third one's just short stories.
Yeah, Haunted Night. I think.
Yeah, I read that.
It's good. Yeah, that's just short stories. It's not a cohesive like one arc story like the other two. But I mean, all three are collected very
I haven't
easily.
read. I really want to. I haven't read Catwoman and When in Rome.
I haven't either. I want to so bad.
That's
Because
good.
their Catwoman's great too. I keep saying sorry. But all of the things I said are really easy to get. Honestly, none of them are out of. The Cult is the only book out of print.
Sadly,
It's a good book.
I have endlessly tried to get my
Yeah.
hands on that.
I'd
Everything
love
else-
to read it.
I mean, there's Denny and Neil Adams stuff that is out of print, but all their biggest books are not. Golden and Silver is so easy to get your hands on. Just look through a 50-cent bin. Well, maybe not Golden Age, but Silver Age for sure. I don't think any of Frank Miller's Batman books are ever going to go out of print, so those are so easy. Dixon stuff, some of No Man's Land is out of print, but it's getting an omnibus actually soon, but Nightfall, so easy to get. Morrison's run just got collected really nicely. Snyder's run is getting collected
Cheap
nice.
omnis too for Morrison.
Morrison has the cheapest ones. Yeah, there's 3 really cheap ones. Snyder's, guys, half of his run collected omnibus, but his trade paperbacks are super easy if you're into trade.
Very easy to find.
King is getting hardcovers right now if you like hardcovers, but his run's also collected in really easy to find trades.
All
so.
done too.
Yeah, his run's over.
Oh, he has one more word.
Yeah,
to say
he
on
is
that.
collecting. He is doing a follow-up maxi series. We're talking about how he likes his maxis, where he is going to close out his Batman Catwoman run. It's called Batman Catwoman. That isn't out yet. I think it starts at Christmas time. So, but he said that you don't need to read his run to enjoy that. So
I was just gonna
That's
say,
enough.
it looks like I might have to sit that one out.
you don't have to now.
I might anyways.
Lucky you.
I won't be. But that's it. That's Batman in a nutshell for someone who's loved the character since I was like 6. So,
Jonathan, you want to mention anything about Batman?
Yeah, do you want to mention our favorite Batman books before we... Anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's yours?
I'm scared.
Why are you scared?
I don't know. I'm just worried.
I mentioned that Batman and Robin, by Morrison. Great. Don't want to talk anymore about that.
You bet All-Star Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, hang on.
I know you like that book.
Okay. There's something about Batman being genuinely broken and insane that I think is really entertaining. And Frank Miller, this is him off the wagon on All-Star
Yeah.
Batman and Robin, saying words I don't want to say on the podcast. But there's something about that Batman. He feels so weird and dangerous where it's like, wow.
It seems like he'll snap at any second and just snap your neck.
He gets mad at Green Lantern, so he paints himself, Robin, and an entire room yellow and invites Green Lantern so he can yell at him. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, Miller
That's
goes
really
to a
funny.
point where he just wants to write Batman as crazy as possible in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. Continue.
A Batman I really like for obvious reasons is Gotham by Gaslight.
Just got a deluxe edition.
That man, Mike Mignola, he's just the best.
Mikey Miggs.
There's another one I'm missing. There's another Batman book that Batman Universe. I didn't read the whole
Oh my
thing,
god,
but
yeah.
that one's fun.
Great throwback. Brian Michael Bendis wrote it. Great throwback to Silver Age. Just fun.
That
Batman
feels
adventure.
like Bendis was trying to get me to read Batman.
He basically watched Batman the Brave and the Bold, the TV
Yeah.
show, and the Cartoon Network show, and wrote a comic right after. It's so much fun.
Which, incredibly hot take, I know. I just love the Brave and the Bold more so than the animated series.
You do you.
Ow, I'm burned by that hot take.
Jonathan, what about you, man? What are some Batman books you love?
No, not my favorite, but...
Oh, wait. I also love Batman Forever.
Okay, never
movie?
mind.
Yes, I love Batman Forever.
Forget
Fun.
about it.
It's great.
No. So, a Batman book that I want to bring up. Not my favorite, just one I want to talk about because I really like it. From the early 2000s, Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader by Neil Gaiman.
One I actually still need to
Yeah.
read.
Mr. Neil Gaiman.
That's one of my favorite Batman books. It's about That's not a spoiler. It takes place at Batman's funeral with all of the Bat family, Batman's rogues, attending his funeral, and they're all telling the story of how Batman died, and each of them have a different story about how Batman died. It's super cool. I love Neil Gaiman. This is some of my favorite of his superhero stuff. I've only read a couple books here and there, but this is definitely the best one out of the books I've read.
Rocco,
Yes.
let me give you some advice. You should read it.
It's getting reprinted in deluxe edition in December, along with Alan Moore's Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and I will be picking up both.
Yeah,
We'll
but
be talking
who
about
needs
that book.
second one.
We will talk
Oh.
about that book. Ugh.
I guess.
Any other books?
I'm good. I mean, I love The Dark Knight Returns. You know, it's
Hot
like my
take.
first. So I'm very
Yeah,
nostalgic
that's-
for it. It's my first. So
Wait, I thought Year One was your first.
no, Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Rises was my first Batman.
Yeah,
media.
Dark Knight Rises, first Batman.
All right, we should close out.
Wait, I have one thing to say.
All right,
Yes.
I want to talk a second about Scott Snyder and how
His tone changes so much.
No. And just how, for some reason, in the span of 3 years, I ran into him everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
So he goes to the same comic book store that I go to, and you guys come frequently, Fourth Wheel Comics.
Shout out.
Yep. And I see him there a lot. He does a lot of signings there. He's also just there sometimes. Met him a lot of times there. And then when Wonder Woman came out, I love Wonder Woman. I'm super excited to finally sit down and watch this movie. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, what? Scott Snyder sits directly in front of me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is crazy.
That's really funny.
And then this is when I used to work at Toys R Us. I went to work and I was in the back, but I went on the floor to get something, and I was listening to the Fat Man on Batman Scott Snyder episode in the back. And so I'm walking, and I'm so used to hearing Scott Snyder's voice in my ear because I was just listening to that episode. And now I hear it, but I'm like, wait, my headphones aren't in. And I turn, and he's on the phone next to me holding a Lego Batmobile.
That is so funny.
It's just, I've ran into him just on the road. It's crazy.
We love you, Scott.
He's a nice guy.
He's super sweet.
Come on the show.
Please come on the show.
We would love to have you.
We're going to reach out.
Yes.
So,
Sorry that ran a little long.
it did run a little while. And we didn't really get to talk about much of what we're reading because we focused on Rorschach.
Yes.
So there's a couple things that I have been reading that I do want to talk about that we will talk about next time.
Yeah, me too.
Jonathan, not to put you on the spot, anything you want to mention about Superman for the upcoming one?
No, I'm all good. Yeah, Superman next.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I'm all good. Superman next time. That's all.
All
We've
right.
been the chimps.
The chimps.
That's my thing.